I took the easiest route out. That morning, my dog was sleeping with me in bed when he heard the kids yelling. Talking. Sorry, I should say talking. My dog was in bed with me. Now, why is she correcting herself? That morning, my dog was sleeping with me in bed when he heard the kids yelling, talking. Sorry, I should say talking. The reason she says talking is because the dog didn't react. And the reason the dog didn't react is because there was nothing to react to for him. There was silence because the kids had already been gone. Okay, you guys got a good conversation going there. I don't need to actually get into that. Yeah, I watched the conversations. I appreciate them very much. Isn't this interesting, guys? That morning, my dog was sleeping with me in bed. Like I said, that dog is, I don't know, there's something wrong there, man. When he heard the kids yelling, talking, nothing set the dog off. The dog was sleeping. The dog made no noise. She always complained that Lily's voice yelling. She said the kids were always yelling. And she talked about how that yelling sets off her dog, who goes nuts. So, this particular morning, it was a very different morning. And that is why she corrected it to the kids only talking. Sorry, I should say talking. My dog was in bed with me. I told him it's the kids outside. Yeah, I told you she's talking to this dog. I mean, she's like having probably, I don't know, she's probably can't shut up. She's probably, nonstop talking to this dog. Talking, my dog was in bed. I told him it's the kids outside playing. He shut right up. And then he barked again when Daniel was yelling. Wait a minute. What do you mean barked again? He did not bark here because there was nothing to bark. The kids were only talking. There was no yelling. The dog didn't bark until he heard Daniel was yelling out the back door for the kids. I didn't pay any attention to him because I thought he was yelling. He was telling the kids to get into the house. That's when I heard and seen the kids. Into. Why you don't stay in the house? Get in the house. Get into the house. A dead body you would put into something. Also interesting, Daniel. 309 left Pete. This is about Thursday. 309 left pizza shop, got home little before 4 p.m. I got my tools together and helped work on the fence. I came inside when it started to get dark around 8 or so. 8? What time did you tell us the kids went to bed at first? 8 or so? Kids are already in bed. Okay, I flicked on the kids' room light at around 12 p.m. Is that what you usually do? Kids are sleeping. A little while later, I go to bed. Kids are sleeping. And twice he uses present tense. Are in bed. He flicked on past tense. His actions are past tense. Everything is past tense. Except kids are already in bed. Kids are sleeping a little while. Kids are sleeping. That's the present tense. Because it didn't happen. I don't believe Jack and Lily ever went to bed that night. The problem may have been that they didn't want to go to bed at night. They were not ready. Maybe there was turmoil. He wanted them to be quiet, and they wouldn't be quiet. But I'm going to later go to your comments, guys. And I see right now. Malaya marks the kids upset from school. 6, 7. Okay, that does the night before into the morning. I was asleep when. Sure. And I'm not exactly sure what this is, but I'll make it visible. This is also sent to me by Julia, who took some time transcribing certain parts from Janie's statements so we don't have to listen to the crow. The next thing you know, and that's, you see, it's bad enough when you say the next thing I knew. That tells me, The next thing you know is even worse. A cop car or an SUV cop car was flying down the road behind them, so we don't know what people are, our intentions are, what people's intentions are. What the hell is she talking about there? I guess she's talking about being scared, and she wants us to believe she's scared. Isn't Daniel still living on your property? Or is he staying elsewhere? I think Daniel can handle himself. But then again, yeah, I mean, remember the guy in my, that has sent me the videos of the area and what he said? He said, the last thing I want to, I don't want to get, killed by some tweaker here. I guess, that area has its moments. I mean, if you live a lifestyle like that, I wonder. I'm reading some comments here. I wonder if Justin has a job. I want to know more about Justin, guys. Let's get right to the point. I believe Belinda when she said that Justin was sincerely crying. He was crying hard. He had real tears running down his face. I believe that what Justin had absolutely nothing to do with the brutality of what happened to Jack and Lily. He wasn't there for that. And why would he be crying? When 2 children are missing and you are joining a search, you would not surrender into tears as a man. You wouldn't take a break to cry. You would be too busy searching. And some of you have talked about the picture of them on the 18. And this is somebody reminiscing in a very negative manner. I believe he was traumatized by what he had seen the night before. He didn't do anything to the children, but I believe he was there for the aftermath and saw the result of what Daniel had done. And everything I'm saying is my opinion, and my opinion only, right? I believe that Justin saw what Daniel had done to Jack and Lily. And I believe that he went mind over matter and fixed things, helped Daniel get rid of the evidence. And he could be much more well adjusted than the rest of these people, who are not at all. And by the way, Bob lives in the area too. That's Logan's father. So Logan comes probably from the same shithole like Daniel. And so she's probably thinks that she is somebody special because she managed to get out of the trailer life into a regular home or regular area, right? So she feels a need to prove herself at all time that that's not who she is, that she belongs in her new life. And there's so much in her language that, it doesn't have to do with this case, but that indicates also a very, strange upbringing, to say the very least. The next thing you know, don't tell me what I know. And don't generalize. Daniel and I were in here in the camper, and we were just in here talking, and we heard motorbikes coming, and we heard kids. We thought it was kids hollering. My dog went ballistic. I opened up the door. Daniel ran out, and he was running up the road, up the driveway. My dog was going ballistic because we heard it. We thought it sounded like kids. We know it wasn't radio because we never heard it going down up the road. Daniel ran out to see, and it was two people on motorbikes. They were dressed in yellow, and insignificancies, right? Ron McKenzie, Logan's dad. Okay, I want to read this real quick. Brandy in Indy. Hey, what's up? Brandy. Oh God. I didn't clean my screen. Shit. Ron McKenzie, Logan's dad, is her brother, Janie's brother, who lives in nearby, and she contacted early Friday morning. And remember, Logan mentioned how bad her dad was crying. A 55-year-old man. I don't believe he was crying at all, and neither do your statements tell us that he did. That's a lie. However, Justin was. And Belinda wasn't crying. What? Belinda didn't know. Oh my God, these people, man. Belinda didn't know what happened to Jack and Lily. You don't stand there and surrender to crying if your children are gone. You don't do that. When you find out what happened to them and you know there is nothing left to do, or you are in a moment of desperation where you have to stop and say, I don't know where else to look. Those are moments when the tears will come, where you say, oh my God, that's when the thoughts come in. But when you think my kids are somewhere out there in the forest, you're busy searching. But Justin already knew what had happened. And he was overwhelmed by what he had seen. What Daniel had done to these little children. in my opinion. Belinda had no time to cry. Belinda was busy searching. But Logan, that indicates to me that you knew what had happened. What do you mean, a 55-year-old man? I am a 55-year-old man. And there are moments when you get emotional. But if I was there to help search, I would be busy looking. Of course, through my analysis very early on, this was red flag city all over. So I wouldn't even have started searching in the forest. I would have not even started had I had the opportunity to talk with these people. And just by hearing, how Malaya spoke, I would have already said, wait. There's something else. And you see, most analysts, they're going very, very slowly, very methodically. And I don't know if you have watched Stephen Pagano. Like, if you see Stephen Pagano's blog, there are 3 huge posts about the JonBenét Ramsey ransom note. Right? Well, I am not sitting down writing. I get straight to what is the most important and make decisions very quickly. And I do that in life as well. And it's a second nature kind of thing that will come to you the more you allow yourself to develop your own rhythm in statement analysis. Use PLAIDS. Use plates at all time. That is, by the way, my invention. And it is the proper approach to allow yourself to read a brand new statements from somebody from a case that you are not familiar with to help guide you into the right direction. And it is more efficient than what has been taught in statement analysis in the past. So as you progress and as you automatically start seeing the warning signs without having to think too much in terms of having a list there and going by the checklist, this is not what I do. And yes, I don't believe in approaching things that way, period. At all. There's a lot of red tape involved. There's a lot of wasting time. And in law enforcement, there are times when an analyst gets hired and he prepares 20 pages using quantity to prove he is worth the money he's being paid, right? And you know the corporate world. It's like that everywhere. People focused less on the goal and more on proving themselves. Look, I've been a good boy. I did my job. So then they pass it on to the detectives, who are supposed to do what? Read the whole damn thing? No, they don't. Some do, most don't. So they don't prioritize properly. They go paragraph by paragraph by paragraph and say, look, I've been a good boy. 20 pages, man. I'm a good one. A detective says, yeah, I read it because that's my job too, and I'm a good boy too. Well, do you think detectives have time to sit there at their desk and just read and read and read? Sometimes they do, but other things come up. And it's boring as hell if that is the approach. And I don't believe that real science is actually boring. So what winds up happening is that they usually take their work home. But what happens when they come home? Daddy, finally you're back. After an 18-hour shift. Cool. We're so happy to see you. Can you help me with... right? What's he gonna say? No, 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 I have 18 pages to go on something I don't really understand because we don't communicate well at the office. That's the other thing. That's why I'm doing this, to help you understand that if you're the right person, and the fact that you're interested in statement analysis already leads me to believe that you are the right person for it, that there is a sense of there's a certain level of intuition, because the people who are not interested in it are only interested in terms of wanting quick results. It's not for them, it's not for you, period. I mean, you're welcome to listen and get something out of it if you do, but I'm talking about if you want to work in this field. So if you still are interested, and I'm sorry, in the next video I will make it for my members section, I'm going to get deeper into detail where I think I want no, I don't know yet, man, to be honest with you. I'm not to be honest with you, I catch myself all the time saying these things because I plan things and then I don't do them. And that's why I caught myself. So the to be honest with you part was not deceptive, but the part before was wishful thinking. I plan to do things, but then something else comes along that captures me because I operate that way and I'm proud of it. I'm very happy with the way that I am doing things. That I never became a sheep who just blindly follows an instructor and completely disregards the efficiency part. So far, I have been right about everything and I have wasted nobody's time with any BS. I'm straight to the point. And I find it to be insulting when people use a certain case to simply go on and on and on about things that are not important. Sorry, I keep. I'm going to go to your comments in a minute, guys. The comment section gets better and better. And by the way, I don't want to announce my premieres either. I'm ready when I'm ready, and I just come on when I come on. And I understand that if I announce it ahead of time, yeah, it's better. More people are coming on. But you know what? I don't want to plan things. Because I see a lot of, channels that have information-packed segments one night, and the next night it's... But a Crime and Shame, for example, they're just not doing... And I like the fact that, when there's nothing new, don't do anything. Let people rewatch what is already there. So the channels that are on anyways and don't do anything and don't talk about nothing, no, that's not my style, guys. That's not my style. But the moment that something comes up, I'm extremely, I'm on alert. I cannot do something else when something is on my mind. It will kill my day, no matter what I'm doing, no matter what great things I have planned. It will not be enjoyable whatsoever if there's unfinished business on my mind. You know what I'm saying? So, I'm not going to plan. And yes, A Balance, you talked about the mysterious part. And no, you don't have to agree when I said there is I believe in synchronicities based on experiences I had in my life. And one thing I have learned is that something like that pink blanket, you wouldn't believe how many cases there are that have been planned so meticulously and they almost got away with it, except one thing that came out of the blue. Suddenly the wind blew in a certain direction, this blanket flew off, and there we have it. And with that we know where Daniel was that particular night when he had Jack and Lily on the ATV. But my question is, did he head towards the pipeline and north from there towards Chance Harbor area? Okay. Did he go west towards Cobequid Bay? Or did he go south towards Sheet Harbor, which was also brought up? Now that's an hour drive. That's quite a bit. An hour drive on the highway. So it would be longer through the dirt roads with the ATV. Because remember what Daniel said he talked about there was a guy from Sheet Harbor, right? Wait a minute. Let's listen to Julio.
Jack Sullivan, still missing?
Reading the words from a page he was handed at a vigil for his missing stepchildren.
And by the way, to make this clear, I prefer the top to bottom approach with plates, with whatever it is that you guys may want to get into in terms of what you send to me. Most important thing, subject line. A little bit more about this or the next important thing. Right there, on top of your message. Little by little, get into more details. The most important things I need to see first. Because I have to prioritize. Because otherwise I miss the things that really stand out. And what I pay attention to at the moment depends on where the language and the evidence leads me. Meaning, I don't approach things the way that, you were maybe taught in school how to approach things. This is not about covering your ass and say, look what I did. No, this is about us figuring out and finding out what took place. So, let's listen to Julio.
6-year-old Lily and 4-year-old Jack Sullivan, Daniel Martel says it brought out a lot of emotions.
They had some RCP speakers and people from the community, and there was even one guy who drove all the way from Sheet Harbor to...
So I don't know, some of you, it's Sheet Harbor, right? With a T. So some of you, asked me to look into this because maybe Sheet Harbor is a possibility. Who was that one guy? And by the way, whom did Daniel meet in that parking lot? Whose son was it? Have you heard more about that? By the way, please limit. I will go to your comments in a minute and fill in my blanks. I don't want to be too I don't need maybes. I rather don't have facts and focus on the statements and let them guide me. I rather have that than have possible facts, things that could be wrong. I don't want that at all. And by the way, there was another statement that Janie left where she said she was in the trailer with Malaya. As I have said, remember my very first analysis when Daniel had written those private messages? Ain't this some shit, people? Oh my goodness. So, Sheet Harbor, I don't know yet, but that's a possibility still. But I am more inclined to think, well, let's look at the map again. After they came from here. Do you see this? Okay, here. Jack and Lily lived here. And here's Irma Tell, where the ATV was. And she told us, Mrs. Janie, Okay. Got the ATV. Children were on it. There were trips made back at the cabins. They were at the cabins when they decided to go back to the house to get the boots, the backpack, and so on. Remember, I think Justin came to help. I think he was there. And he's not a professional mob cleanup guy, right? So mistakes were made, and Daniel is extremely chaotic. I wouldn't mind you did a live every wow. Amy Fain, thank you so much. Thank you, Mike, for doing all you do. Wow, Belinda, thank you for your comment. And I can tell you that I find it extremely insulting when I see people talk about nothing simply to, never mind. I'm always surprised how few people are interested actually in finding out what happened. And most people out there are more interested in presenting their own theories, and they get angry when people don't pay attention to their theories and they don't do the legwork, right? So please stay away from, the types of people on not just Twitter, but YouTube, certain channels on YouTube where there's only arguing, where they sidetrack you, because I think it's an insult to the people who are victimized. Not just Jack and Lily, who I believe are beyond help. I believe they're gone. I believe they're no longer alive. But there's people like Belinda, possibly Malea's grandmother, possibly. There are people who are affected. And to them, this is not a game. It's not a game to them. It's everyday life. The acceptance of what took place. So the least that we can do is to think. Thinking is hard. That's why most people judge, right? That's what Carl Jung said. Well, I disagree for myself. I think not thinking is the hardest thing. My mind is moving constantly. So the moment for me to do a premiere is always right now while it's hot, because otherwise my mind is already moving ahead of things. And so I am not going to bother sitting down and revisiting old thoughts without bringing in the new ones, because then people will say, wait a minute, you're getting ahead of yourself. No, I already been ahead. So I rather prefer to do this with you guys together, meaning I will also read the comments with you guys together, so we can learn from one another. And here we have Earl Martell's house, where I think I showed you the last time, right? The guy, he drove by this way and he said, look at this shithole. Same like Daniel's, same style. And by the way, Bob, he lives I don't know exactly, but that's the part I had to cut out from that video, because there was a speculation, a house that may have been Bob's and may have not been, but you don't want to show other people's houses if they had nothing to do with it, right? Right, so that's why I had to cut out a certain part of the video that I presented to you the last time from the anonymous person who, according to Charmaine, watches my videos, whom I'm really thankful to. And again, whoever you are, you can reach out to me at any time, and if you have anything that stands out, please let me know. even if it doesn't, even if your mind tells you, I shouldn't talk about this, people will say I'm crazy, maybe. No. People talk and talk and talk and judge and judge and judge. And thinking, no. Okay? Never, you can never worry about that. The only thing you can learn is to cut those types of people out of your life. With me, there is no judgment. The only thing that bothers me is the lack of thinking. When the level of thinking is way down and the level of talking goes way up. That's what bothers me. And that's what I don't tolerate at all. That's why I'm like, okay, bye. I move on to whatever gets straight to the point. So, with my training, you will get way ahead in terms of being able to do much more than the average law enforcement. You'll be way ahead of the game. Let me say it like that. It doesn't matter if you're going to be an analyst or if you're a private detective who wants to get better at what you're doing. Better, more efficient. That's usually the people who benefit the most because they don't have to go through these bureaucratic channels. Okay, I did my class in statement analysis. Okay, now back to the regular life. Back to my boss saying this and this. When somebody, by the way, says I'm trained in statement analysis, that means nothing. I want to clarify that. What type of training? How many hours? Under whom? What have you learned? You know what I mean? And how good you are and how good you will be depends on who you are. So having said that, to have this elitist mentality, how some of you may see it, it's not about that. You have to allow yourself to be elevated through knowledge as it comes to you. So when Daniel was here, which way did he go to get rid of Jack and Lily? And I've said it before, this is so important, the vicinity here. He was there. The blanket was lost here. What was the reason for the boot print? Let me not get into this quite yet. But do you think he went down this road and then up there? Or do you think he wanted to avoid the road to make sure nobody would see him, even though there was nothing happening at night? What exactly? This would be the pipeline, right? Well, which way did you go, dude? I know you went to the coast. So yes, I understand that A-Balance had the bodies of water and has shown all of these things. No, it was the coastline where Jack and Lily had been taken. It was not a river. It was not a pond. It was not a lake. It was wherever there was a huge surf effort. A huge surf. Because Malaya slipped. And the reason Malaya slipped was because she, at that moment, remembered a conversation she had had with Daniel. Likely she was worried that the bodies would be swept to shore and found. How are we going to explain that, huh? Well, I believe that's when Daniel calmed her down and said, no, there was a huge surf or tide or however he called it. And these kids will be out way in the ocean. There will be no evidence. I'll be back with your comments in a moment. My email is iamfiretown@gmail.com, and you can also see me on Facebook and on Twitter. Yes, I'm there. Not that much, but I'm there.